Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Wyld. Today we are talking about getting your tax forms from Doordash. So as with a lot of companies, Doordash is required to send tax forms to certain dashers, and they operate a little differently than a normal W-2 job. And not knowing some of the nuances that come with that can lead to a lot of confusion and panic, especially if you don't know where to look and if you're not prepared yourself. So with that said, I want to go over everything you must know about getting your tax forms from Doordash, what they tell you versus how it actually is, and everything in between. But before we do that, let's go over a quick disclaimer. The content of this video does not contain, is never intended to be, legal, business, financial, tax, or health advice of any kind. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is advised that you conduct your own research and consult with qualified professionals before applying anything you find online. Also, thank you to GigTax for verifying this information and making this video possible. If you earned $600 or more in 2023 on the Doordash platform, you'll receive a 1099 NEC form from our partner Stripe. This is unusual because 1099Ks would normally be distributed if someone were to make over $20,000 in 2023, or in later years, $5,000. However, Doordash is going to send 1099Ks to merchants while drivers only receive 1099 NEC. This is a little different, where rideshare drivers expect 1099Ks because of how Uber and Lyft platforms record earnings. So although the IRS says that 1099Ks are required, this doesn't apply to Doordash for how they record their earnings, because for us, they fall under the $600 1099 NEC ruling. Important to keep in mind, eligible dashers who earned $600 or more in 2023 will be receiving an email from Stripe by mid-January 2024. Emails will be sent out in phases to dashers starting in October 2023. The subject line is "Get your Doordash 2023 tax forms faster by enabling e-delivery." Stripe is a completely separate company from Doordash. And the way it works is Doordash is going to set up the form, send it to Stripe, and they're going to have a landing page set up in your account with Stripe that will allow you to download it from the Stripe account home page. And if you didn't set up an account with Stripe, you can either check your email, including your spam folders, or you will receive a copy in the mail if you didn't set one up in time. Or if you just prefer the physical copy and you chose not to opt into e-delivery personally. If you received a Stripe email asking you to confirm your TIN, tax identification number, in order to keep your account active, please use the unique link sent to you. This information is not to create a Stripe account. This information is used to ensure that we have the correct TIN number for every dasher on the platform. This email was only sent to certain dashers, so if you did not receive one, this means we have the correct information and no action is needed. Stripe does check to verify, but don't be stupid about it either. Some phishing scammers are good and can make a pretty damn convincing email that is completely fake and in the name of Stripe. So just make sure the email is sent from Stripe and not Doordash or Stripe or any other scammy looking email. The last thing you want is your identity stolen and the pain in the the auditor on your case. How can I check my mileage for tax deduction purposes? As an independent contractor, managing your own business and expenses can be tough. Your business related mileage can be a significant expense, so if you know how many miles you drove, you may be able to reduce the amount you owe for taxes or increase your refund. This is in reference to the standard deduction rate for the amount of miles you drove for business-related purposes. Doordash does send you an email about the miles you drove, but a lot of people have reported that the numbers they send you are often really wrong. Like, not even close wrong. And that's because they only record the mileage when you're on an order, but not any other mileage that is associated with your business driving, such as driving between zones, driving to get another order, and etc. Last year, I got an email from one of my subscribers. BC, thank you so much for emailing me about this and making this part of the video possible. You need a video on how to easily and accurately track your expenses for independent contractors of of the gig apps. DD mileage, it's so off, it's not even funny. This is something you can easily accomplish with a mileage and expense tracking app, but we're gonna go deeper into that later. How do I update my tax information? You'll be able to review and edit your tax information directly in Stripe Express. Please update your information no later than mid-January 2024. If you're looking to update your individual taxpayer information, ITIN, which would be either your Social Security number, SSN, or Employment Identification Number, EIN. Please note that you will first need to create a Stripe Express account using the invitation sent to you. If you've already created an account and have access to your e-copy of your 1099 NEC, please follow these steps. Go to Platform Setting, select the arrow, select the pencil icon under Personal Details to edit the Social Security number or Employment Identification Number. Please note, if you don't consent to e-delivery by mid-January 2024, we'll automatically mail your 1099 tax form to the address on file, so it's critical that your information is current, correct, and complete. You can still update your information via Stripe Express after mid-January 2024 and download your 1099 electronically. However, you will not be mailed a new paper copy of your 1099 tax form. Now, in the event that you didn't update your tax information in time, or you kind of leveled up as a gig worker from when you signed up on a whim for DoorDash, like in 2018, liked it a lot, and then decided to open an LLC or S Corp, and now you have an EIN you want to earn under, but you didn't update that in time. I remember being in that position and panicking when I forgot to do this when I first opened up my S Corp. I didn't consult my CPA until I was told it was too late to change it by DoorDash, and they still refused to fix it on their end. Shocker, right? Now, when I did consult my CPA, they handled it so that way they would remove the income from my Social Security number and put it in the name of my business and EIN, which is not that big a deal, but it is extra work that they don't need, you know what I'm saying? Now, I do have a few side notes I would like to go over on this subject. No form doesn't mean no income. The reporting threshold for 1099 NEC is $600, but that doesn't mean you didn't receive income. The income threshold for reporting income is not the same as the threshold for receiving a 1099 NEC. According to the IRS, you must file a tax return if you have net earnings from self-employment of $400 or more from gig work, even if it's a side job, a temporary job, a part-time job, etc.
But Joe, what about the 3 cash tips I received from the customers that I worked with that actually did tip cash? Do I have to report that too?
While it is rare to receive cash tips, and it is a long, hard argument sung by every single hate commenter who claims they tip after service when we all know that they don't, and they all use that excuse that they don't have to report it on your taxes, I will say this: officially, that is not recommended. But that is your business, it is up to you. Either way, that's not a reason to accept no-tip orders. Now, when I consulted Joseph Mayo on the subject, he actually sent me a link to an example of what the IRS means when they say they want us to report all income. IRS asked taxpayers to claim stolen and illegal income. To be honest, I can't take this seriously enough at the moment to do a proper deep dive on it, but yes, stolen items need to be reported too. Stripe is more than just DoorDash. Like I said, Stripe is a completely separate company from DoorDash and actually works with Instacart as well. There are other companies that they work with, but Instacart is the one that I'm the most familiar with. So if you receive an email from Instacart but not from DD, or vice versa, you will be able to get them on the same page. Yet another reason to diversify your gig portfolio, am I right? The US versus everywhere else. As you can imagine, these rules are specifically in regards to gig workers in the United States. Like the UK, Canada, Australia, and otherwise, they have their own rules and regulations. expense. The source at which I pulled from, Doordash, is actually in the description as usual and has the links for other pages as well. Feel free to check that out. Mileage and expense tracking apps. As an independent contractor, you are responsible for keeping track of your earnings and accurately reporting your tax filings. Doordash does not provide a breakdown of your total earnings between base pay, tips, boosts, milestones, etc., and has stated that they will send you the miles that you drove for them on their page, and like we said before, they are highly inaccurate. This is why I would say it is vital to have a mileage and expense tracking app. These apps can not only save you a bunch of money on your taxes if you implement them properly, but can end up saving you a lot of time and stress when it comes to tax season. And trust me, there have been quite a few that have popped up over the years, and some even developed by gig workers themselves. Everlane, MileIQ, QuickBooks Self-Employed, Solo, Para, the list goes on. And each of them have their own pros, cons, and price points with different perks and benefits and disadvantages. I will make more breakdowns of each of them in the future, but either way, it is vital to have one of these for yourself and not wait until the last day of the year to actually figure out how many miles you drove for work. Standard mileage rate versus actual expense method. Now, Doordash touched on the standard mileage rate a little bit, but didn't talk about the actual expense method at all. Yes, in a lot of cases, the actual expense method won't be as beneficial to gig workers, but that doesn't mean there won't be a year where you won't use it if the amount you would deduct would be higher that way. In short, the actual expense method is where, just like the name suggests, you will write off the actual expenses that you use on your vehicle for business-related purposes, and the standard mileage rate where you would use the number of miles you drove. If you need to know more details about the subject so you won't end up in trouble during this tax season, I will leave a link in the description that I made on these two methods. Feel free to check them out. Either way, tracking mileage must be done, and of course it's for the standard mileage deduction, but also to know the percentage of use of your vehicle for business when taking the actual expense method. This isn't the case if you have a vehicle that you only use for DoorDash, but most of us also have our vehicles available for personal use. Joseph Mayo, founder of GigTax. Don't be that guy. Now, a lot of people who see stuff like this think that they can pretty much write off anything and everything as a tax write-off because they could claim it was for business purposes, but in reality, it was you going to do your own personal crap. This can end up getting you into a lot of trouble with the IRS. And the last thing you want is to end up with an audit. Or you don't want to pay for an app service, so you guesstimate the number and hope you're not losing too much money in write-offs, which I really don't understand that logic at all, because why wouldn't you spend a few bucks a month on a tracker to save thousands on your tax return? So do yourself a favor, don't be that guy. Working with a tax professional. One of the best decisions that saved me time, energy, and tax dollars was to begin working with a tax professional to help me with my taxes so I could focus on making the most amount of money in the least amount of time in the safest possible way by putting my time towards gig work and growing my business. And I know for a lot of people this can be really expensive, and if you go to the wrong people, it could end up costing you a lot, which is why GigTax is here to help. The approaching tax season is inevitable, and for every hour spent on navigating tax season alone, you miss out on potential earnings, precious moments with loved ones, and expose yourself to financial risks. Recognized as the leading tax preparation service for gig workers, GigTax is dedicated to simplifying the process, saving you time, energy, and money. Founded by Joseph Mayo, a seasoned gig worker with over 6,000 deliveries across 6 platforms since 2020, GigTax addresses the overlooked, overcharged, and underserved needs of gig workers in the financial realm. Driven Wyld subscribers can take advantage of an exclusive 60% discount on GigTax's tax prep, and if you act now, the first 3 registrations include complimentary tax preparation. Hold on, I don't know if I'm 100% clear about that. Let me get a little closer here. Professional tax prep tailored to your needs, absolutely free. Secure your spot today with GigTax using the description link below to register and enter Wyld to maximize savings and get back to what you do best, making the most amount of money in the least amount of time in the safest possible way. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.